Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. My name is Damon Pierce. I am 29 years old. Last Tuesday night, I was on my couch in our apartment in Charlotte with the game on, the volume up, and a plate of leftovers balanced on my knee. It had been a good week at work. I had just gotten a promotion, the kind that finally made me feel like I could breathe a little. I was thinking about normal things, paying down debt faster, taking a trip, maybe upgrading my car by the end of the year. I was not thinking about buying a house in the next 4 days. Sierra Brooks walked in around 9 o'clock. She is 27, and we had been together for 2 years. She had gone out for drinks with her friends and came back with that bright-eyed energy she gets when she is buzzing with news. She did not ease into the living room or sit beside me. She stood in front of the television like a referee calling a penalty. "I'm pregnant," she said. Then, without pausing, she added, "You need to buy us a house now." I muted the television so fast the room felt like it snapped into silence. "Okay," I said carefully. "That is big news. Congratulations." I stood up because I did not know what else to do with my hands. I wanted to hold her and ask a dozen questions like a normal couple, but the way she delivered it felt like a demand notice. "How far along are you?" 3 weeks, she said. "I took 5 tests. All positive." She crossed her arms and watched my face like she was waiting for me to say the wrong thing. Something in my chest tightened. I pushed it down because I did not want to ruin the moment if it was real. 3 weeks is really early. I said, "Are you sure?" "That is, right after conception." "The tests do not lie," she said. "And we need to be realistic. This apartment is too small for a baby. Your lease is up in 4 months anyway. It is perfect timing to buy." The word perfect landed wrong. We had never seriously talked about buying together. We had talked about someday. We had talked about what neighborhoods we liked when we drove past nicer streets, the way couples do when they are imagining a future. But we had not talked about writing offers, signing paperwork, merging finances, any of it. I tried to slow things down. "Let us make a doctor's appointment first," I said. "Confirm everything, get you on prenatal care, and then we can talk about next steps." Sierra's eyes narrowed. "There is nothing to confirm," she said. "I am pregnant." "Are you saying you do not believe me?" "I am saying 3 weeks is early, and we should get medical confirmation before making huge financial decisions," I said. I kept my voice level on purpose. I was already hearing my brother's voice in my head telling me to stay calm. Do not get pulled into a fight you did not start. Sierra started pacing between the couch and the kitchen. "Unbelievable," she said. "I am carrying your child, and you're being difficult about securing our future. Do you know how much daycare costs? We need space, a yard, good schools nearby." "Okay," I said, holding up a hand. "But buying a house is a massive commitment. We're not even engaged." The second the word engage left my mouth, I knew I had stepped on a landmine. Sierra's face went red. "Oh, so you need a ring to take responsibility for your child," she said. "Real mature." She laughed, but it was sharp, not amused. "My friend were right about you." "What friend?" I asked. "Right about what?" "Never mind," she said, waving a hand like she could erase it. "Are you going to step up or not? Because if you're not serious about this family, I need to know now." The way she said "this family" made it feel like a title she was assigning us, not a life we had chosen together. "I'm not saying I will not step up," I said. "I'm saying we need to be smart. Doctor first. Then we talk about housing." Sierra grabbed her purse. "I'm staying at my mom's tonight," she said. "Maybe you will have a better attitude tomorrow." She walked out and shut the door hard enough that a picture frame in the hallway tilted. I stood there staring at the door, the television still muted, the stadium crowd frozen mid-cheer. I sat back down slowly and replayed every sentence. The pregnancy announcement did not feel like news. It felt like leverage. 3 weeks and already demanding a house, like she had been waiting for the right moment to drop it. I grabbed my phone and searched what 3 weeks pregnant actually means. The answers were consistent. 3 weeks is basically the beginning, right after conception, often before a missed period. Most people do not even know yet. Home tests usually do not detect that early. Some can, but it is not common. The more I read, the more my stomach sank. Either Sierra had the most sensitive tests ever made, or something was not adding up. The timing pulled a memory to the surface. 6 weeks earlier, Sierra and I had a huge fight about buying a house. It was not a screaming fight, but it was serious. I had told her I wanted to wait, save more, get stable in my new role, maybe travel while we still could. She had said I was afraid of commitment and keeping her in limbo. That night ended with her standing by the kitchen counter, quiet and angry, saying she needed to reevaluate our relationship if I could not move forward like an adult. The thing is, I had not been avoiding the future. I had been building it slowly. Sierra knew that. She had seen the budget spreadsheet on my laptop. She knew I was working overtime to qualify for the promotion. She knew I had been setting aside money for a down payment in a separate savings account. We had talked about marriage in calm moments. One winter evening, she curled up beside me and asked what kind of wedding I would want if we did it someday. Another time, we visited her parents for a holiday dinner, and her mother pulled me aside after dessert and said she loved how steady I was, how I listened, how Sierra seemed calmer with me. Sierra squeezed my hand in the car afterward and said, "I can see myself doing life with you." Those moments were real. That is why this felt like whiplash. I call my older brother, Reggie, because he has 3 kids and does not get rattled easily. He answered on the second ring. I told him what Sierra had said and the 3 weeks detail. There was a pause on the line. 3 weeks, he said. That is like, right when it happens. That is what I thought, I said. Even doctors do not usually confirm that early. What did you say to her? Reggie asked. I said congratulations, and I said we should see a doctor before doing anything major, I said. I also thought about asking for a paternity test once it is safe before buying a house. Smart, Reggie said immediately. Do not commit to anything yet. Something sounds weird. After we hung up, I sat with the phone in my hand, staring at Sierra's last text to me from earlier that week. Something normal about picking up groceries, like it belonged to a different relationship. I decided to be direct without being cruel. I sent her a message. Congratulations again on the baby. Let us set up a doctor's appointment to confirm everything and get you on prenatal care. Also, I think we should do a paternity test once it is safe. Not because I do not trust you, but because I want to be 100% certain before we make major financial decisions like buying a house. I thought it was reasonable. I thought a grown-up conversation would follow. Instead, my phone started lighting up like I had kicked a hornet's nest. Sierra texted, "Are you kidding me right now?" She texted, "A paternity test?" After 2 years. She texted, "This is the most disrespectful thing anyone has ever said to me." Then, "You are calling me a cheater?" Then, "I cannot believe you would accuse me of this." At 11 that night, her mother called. Valerie Brooks did not call me often, and when she did, it was usually polite. This time her voice was sharp. "How dare you question my daughter's integrity?" she said. "She is carrying your child, and you have the audacity to demand a paternity test." "I did not demand anything," I said. "I suggested it. I am also asking for a doctor's appointment to confirm everything medically." "You suggested she is a liar," Valerie said. "If you loved her, you would not need a test. You would just believe her." I took a breath. "With all due respect, a paternity test is pretty standard these days," I said. "I am not trying to insult her. I'm trying to be responsible before we make major purchases." "She's not doing any test," Valerie snapped. "You either accept this baby as yours and buy her a proper home, or she's done with you." She hung up before I could respond. I stared at the dark screen. A simple request had turned into a coordinated outrage, and it made me more suspicious. If Sierra was telling the truth, why not say, "Fine, we can do whatever makes you comfortable"? Why did it instantly become an attack on her character? I decided to sleep on it and let the emotion cool. It did not. 3 days later, it escalated. Thursday morning, her father called. Clifton Brooks and I had met maybe 3 times. He did not waste time with small talk. "Son, we need to talk about this situation," he said. "Okay," I said. I was at my desk, and I rolled my chair away from the open floor so coworkers would not overhear. "My daughter is pregnant with your baby," Clifton said. "You need to do the right thing." "I plan to," I said. "I just want medical confirmation first. 3 weeks is early. And before I buy a house, I want a paternity test when it is safe." Clifton exhaled like I was exhausting him. "That is not reasonable," he said. "You are questioning her morals. Do you know how many houses are selling in her preferred neighborhoods? They're going fast. You need to make an offer this week." "This week," I repeated. My voice stayed calm. but my grip tightened on the edge of my desk. "Sir, I am not buying a house this week. You should have planned before you got her pregnant," he said. "Now you deal with the consequences. Be a man." "I'm being a man," I said. "A smart one. We will do a doctor's appointment. We will do a paternity test when it is possible. Then we will discuss housing. If you do not buy her a house in the next month, I am getting my lawyer involved," Clifton said. "You are not abandoning my grandchild." He hung up. That afternoon, Sierra's best friend Brittany showed up at my office. Not a call, not a text asking to meet. She walked into the lobby and asked for me by name. Security called upstairs, and I went down because I did not want a scene. Brittany leaned close like she was delivering a verdict. "Can we talk?" she said. We stepped outside. "What is going on with you?" Brittany demanded. "You broke her heart. She has been crying for 2 days. I asked for a paternity test," I said. "That is it." Brittany's mouth twisted. "Demanding proof you're the father is psycho behavior," she said. "She has been faithful to you. She is planning a family with you. And you throw this in her face." "I did not throw anything," I said, keeping my tone measured. "I made a reasonable request before buying a house." "She needs security," Brittany said, repeating it like a slogan. "She needs a home. She needs to know you are committed. And I need to know the baby is mine before I buy a house," I said. "Pretty simple." Brittany scoffed. "You are going to lose her over this," she said. "She is already talking to a lawyer about child support." "The baby is not even born," I said. "And we do not even have a doctor's appointment." Brittany shook her head like I was beyond help and walked away. That night, I called a friend of mine who works in women's health, Dr. Anita Patel. I kept it hypothetical at first, because I still wanted to believe I might be overreacting. If someone says they are 3 weeks pregnant, I asked, would 5 home tests show positive? Dr. Patel did not hesitate. 3 weeks from conception, she said. Probably not. Hormone levels are usually too low. Most tests cannot detect until at least 4 weeks, often 5 or 6. 3 weeks would be pushing it even with very sensitive tests. My throat went dry. If someone wanted to fake it early, I asked, how would they do it? Dr. Patel paused. You can buy positive tests online, she said carefully. Or someone could use a test that is already positive. Or borrow urine from someone who is pregnant. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall. 6 weeks ago, we fought about buying. 4 weeks ago, Sierra said she felt sick and stayed at her parents' for a few days. 3 weeks ago, she had a late night out that went until 2 in the morning. Now she was 3 weeks pregnant, demanding a house immediately, refusing a paternity test, and sending her entire circle to pressure me with the same talking points. I did not want to believe it, but the pattern was forming. And if it was a trap, it was already close to snapping shut. I started taking practical steps. First, I documented everything. I took screenshots of texts from Sierra, her mother, her father, and Brittany. I wrote down dates and times of calls and what was said. I saved voicemails. I did it quietly, like I was collecting receipts for a return I hoped I would not have to make. Second, I protected my finances. I called my bank and opened a separate account that Sierra did not know about, then moved money gradually, enough to keep myself secure without triggering obvious changes she might notice if she ever glanced at my balance. It felt ugly to do in a relationship, but it felt uglier to be manipulated into a $500,000 decision based on a claim I could not verify. Third, I did research. I read about mortgage pre-approval and what it takes to buy. I ran my own numbers. Down payment, closing costs, escrow, the difference between a fixed-rate mortgage and adjustable, what the monthly payment would be if rates moved. I did it because I wanted to be prepared if this was real, and because if it was not, I wanted to understand exactly how close I was to being cornered. Sierra kept applying pressure through other people. Valerie texted me. Found a perfect house for bedroom, 3-bath, great neighborhood. Can you put in an offer this week? Clifton called again and asked what my salary was so he could connect me with a mortgage guy. Brittany messaged, babies need stability. Stop making this about you. The words were different, but the message was the same. House now, no questions, no proof, no delay. It felt rehearsed. I decided I needed clean proof. I bought a small camera and set it up in my living room, angled toward the couch. I told myself it was just in case she admitted something or revealed a lie. I hated the idea of recording someone I had loved, but I hated the idea of being scammed even more. I texted Sierra, can we talk? I want to work this out. She agreed to come over Friday night. When she arrived, she did not come with a doctor's appointment card or comp plan. She came with printouts, house listings, highlighted prices, circled neighborhoods. She set them on my coffee table like evidence. "Look," she said, smiling too brightly. "I found perfect options. 3 bedrooms, good school districts, under 400,000. Your promotion means you can afford the down payment. My promotion means I can breathe," I said. "It does not mean I can rush into buying a house." Sierra's smile flattened. "It is our money now," she said. "We are having a baby. You cannot be selfish anymore." "We are not married," I said. "If we buy together and things do not work out, things will work out if you stop being paranoid," she said. Her tone turned cold. "It is not paranoid to want a paternity test," I replied. "I'm not doing a test," Sierra said. "Period. You either trust me or you do not." I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt something in me shift. "Then I guess I do not," I said quietly. Sierra stood up fast. "Fine," she said. "Then we are done, and you will be paying child support for the next 18 years. Hope you are happy." "If it is my child, I will gladly support," I said. "But I am not buying a house without proof." Sierra's eyes flashed. "You are going to regret this," she said. "My lawyer says I can get emergency support payments, even before the birth. You will be paying for my housing one way or another." "You already talked to a lawyer?" I asked. Sierra paused. "I had to protect myself," she said. "I care enough to not commit fraud," I said. "Fraud?" She snapped, offended, like that word was the real crime. "I'm saying something does not add up," I said. 3 weeks is very early to know. The timing is convenient. You are pushing for a house immediately. You are refusing a paternity test. Your whole family is threatening me. It is weird." Sierra grabbed her purse and left. After she walked out, I sat on the couch with my heart pounding and forced myself to do something I did not want to do. I checked the camera footage. I expected nothing. I hoped for nothing. I rewound anyway. At one point, Sierra had left her purse on the couch when she went to the bathroom. She came back, glanced around, pulled out her phone, and called someone. The audio was clear. "Yeah, he is not budging," she said. "No, he wants a paternity test." I know. She paced, then lowered her voice. "What am I supposed to do? I cannot exactly tell him the truth because he will leave." My hands went cold. Sierra exhaled on the recording and said, "Maybe the timing was off. 3 weeks sounded good at the time." She paused, listening. Okay, I will figure it out. Maybe I can push the due date back or something." I replayed it. Once, twice, 10 times, 15. Each time, those lines hit harder. My stomach rolled like I was on a drop in an elevator. She cannot tell me the truth about something. The timing was off. 3 weeks sounded good at the time. That was not misunderstanding. That was strategy. I did not confront her immediately. I needed the next step to be clean and undeniable, because I could already hear her family calling me a liar and accusing me of setting her up. So I played it calm. I texted Sierra the next day. "I have been thinking. You are right. I am sorry for doubting you. Let us schedule a doctor's appointment together so we can hear the heartbeat and start planning properly." She responded within minutes. "Really?" she said. "You mean it?" "Yes," I wrote. "I was being paranoid. Let us do this." Sierra sent. "Thank you. I knew you would come around." Then, "So when is your first appointment?" "I want you there." I watched the typing bubble appear, then disappear, then appear again. Sierra finally texted. "I have not scheduled one yet. I have been too stressed." "No problem," I wrote. "Let us call an obstetrician today. I will come with you." "Actually, I do not have one here yet," she wrote. "I was thinking of going to my mom's doctor a few towns over. I trust her more." That made no sense. Charlotte has plenty of clinics. "Okay," I wrote. "Let us schedule it this week if possible." Sierra never followed up. Instead, the house pressure intensified like someone had turned a dial. I did more digging, because if I was going to end this, I needed to be sure. I checked Sierra's social media and found a photo from 5 weeks earlier at a bar with friends. In the background was a guy she had tagged, and then untagged a few hours later. I clicked his profile, a former classmate, single, living 3 hours away. Then I found a payment app transaction from 6 weeks ago. Sierra had sent him $75 with a beer emoji. It was not proof of cheating, but it was another thread in a fabric that was already tearing. I called Reggie again and told him what I found, and I told him about the recording without sending it yet. He got quiet. You need to protect yourself, he said. Do not buy anything. Do not sign anything. Get her to take a test in front of you. That was the simplest possible proof. I texted Sierra. For my peace of mind, would you take one more test with me present, just so I can see it? Sierra replied immediately. Are you serious right now? I already took 5 tests. Just one more, I wrote. For me. No, she wrote. I'm not doing a test every time you get insecure. This is ridiculous. If you bring this up again, I'm blocking you. I stared at the screen and felt my last bit of hope drain out. If she was pregnant, one more test would have been the easiest victory in the world. Instead, she treated it like a threat. That weekend, I set my plan. I invited Sierra to dinner at a steakhouse in Uptown Charlotte, told her I wanted to apologize for being difficult. I showed up calm, charming, careful. I let her talk about the future like she always wanted. I nodded when she said she wanted a yard. I nodded when she said she wanted a nursery painted in soft colors. I nodded when she said she did not want to work after the baby because daycare was expensive and she wanted a bond. Every time she said, obviously, like her decisions were law, I felt myself detach a little more. Halfway through dinner, I asked, how far along did you say you were again? 3 weeks, Sierra said. When is the due date? I asked. Sierra pulled out her phone and did exaggerated scrolling. Looks like early November, she said. I did the math in my head. Early November did not match 3 weeks along from last Tuesday. The inconsistency landed like a stone. That seems later than I expected, I said. It is not an exact science, Sierra said quickly. The app is just estimating. And when is your first ultrasound? I asked. Probably in a few weeks, she said. They usually wait until 8 to 10 weeks. She said it smoothly, like she had rehearsed it. By the time we got back to my apartment, she was showing me houses on her laptop. This one already has a nursery set up, she said. We could move in and barely have to do anything. How much is it? I asked. $385,000, she said, like she was reading a menu price. Totally doable with your salary. My salary, I said. Our salary, she corrected. Once the baby is born, I will be staying home. Obviously. I looked at her face and realized she had built an entire life plan on top of a lie, and she expected me to fund it without question. I gave it one more week because I wanted the confrontation to be clean, not emotional. I used that week to tighten everything. I scheduled a consultation with a lawyer and explained the situation in plain terms. A girlfriend claiming pregnancy, demanding I buy a house, refusing verification, family threatening legal action. The lawyer told me not to commit to any major purchases and to keep evidence of manipulation. If someone was using a fake pregnancy to defraud me financially, that could be criminal, but proof mattered. Friday night, I invited Sierra over and told her I had gotten pre-approved for a mortgage and wanted to celebrate. That part was not true, but it pulled her in. She showed up with champagne. Non-alcoholic for me, she said with a grin, like she was already acting like my choices were about her. We sat on the couch. I had my phone recording in my pocket. I kept my voice calm. Before we put an offer on a house, I said, I need to see a positive test. Just one with my own eyes. Is that too much to ask? Sierra's expression changed instantly. Are we really doing this again? She said. Yes, I said. Because something does not add up. What does not add up? She asked, offended. I am pregnant. I took 5 tests. Then take one right now. I said. I bought some. They are in the bathroom. Sierra stood up hard. This is crazy, she said. You are being controlling. I'm being smart, I said. Take the test, or I am done. Sierra glared at me, then forced a laugh. Fine, she said. I will take your stupid test. And when it is positive, you're going to feel like an idiot. She went into the bathroom and shut the door. Minutes passed. 5, 10, 15. I knocked once and asked if she was okay. Sierra said it was hard to pee on command and told me to give her a minute. Finally, the door opened. Sierra walked out flushed and irritated. I cannot do it, she said. Too much pressure. This is a hostile environment. I am leaving. Show me the test, I said. There is nothing to show, she snapped. I walked into the bathroom. The test was in the trash. I picked it up with 2 fingers and stared at it. 1 line. Negative. I turned back to Sierra, holding it up. This is negative, I said, still keeping my voice, even though my heart was hammering. Those tests are faulty, she said immediately. I told you I am pregnant. Then take another one right now, I said. I will stand outside the door. Keep it open. I need to see you take it from start to finish. Sierra's eyes widened. Absolutely not, she said. You are sick. I am not the one lying, I said. Are you actually pregnant? Yes, she said, louder, like volume could make it true. Then prove it, I said. One test. That is all. Sierra started crying, but looked more like panic than heartbreak. I cannot believe you are doing this to me, she said. To us. To our baby. What baby? I said quietly. You just tested negative. Because those tests are cheap, she said. They do not work. I bought expensive ones. You can use the same brand you said you used, I said. Try again. No, Sierra said, wiping her face. This relationship is over. You clearly do not trust me. She grabbed her purse. I stepped in front of the door, not aggressively, just enough to stop her from walking past me like she could exit the consequences. Not until you tell me the truth, I said. Are you actually pregnant? Yes, she insisted. Then take one test, I said. Or I call your mom right now and ask if she knows you're lying. Sierra went still. Her face drained of color in a way that crying could not explain. We stared at each other for a long moment, and the silence felt louder than the earlier threats. Then Sierra's shoulders dropped. Fine, she whispered. You want the truth? I'm not pregnant. Happy now. Even though I had suspected it, the admission hit like a punch. I felt sick, not because I was surprised, but because it confirmed she was willing to look me in the eye and build a whole world out of a lie. Why? I asked. Sierra's eyes flashed with anger, like she thought she still had the right to be the victim. Because you will not commit, she said. We have been together 2 years, and you will not even talk about buying a house. What was I supposed to do? Not lie about being pregnant, I said. Sierra shook her head, frantic now. It was supposed to be a push, she said, to get you to take us seriously, to build a future. By trapping me with a fake baby, I said. It was not supposed to stay fake, Sierra said quickly. I thought if we started the process, I could actually get pregnant before anyone noticed. I thought I could make it real. I stared at her. So, you're going to baby trap me for real after faking it first, I said. It is not trapping if we are in a relationship, Sierra snapped. It is exactly trapping, I said. This is insane. Sierra threw her hands up. What is insane is you dragging your feet, she said. My friends are all getting married, buying houses, having kids, and I'm stuck with a guy who will not commit. So you lied, I said, my voice still controlled but sharper now. You got your mother, your father, and Brittany to pressure me. You tried to manipulate me into buying a house. I did what I had to do, Sierra said. And the worst part was that she sounded like she believed it. I felt something settle in me. Hurt, yes, but also clarity. Get out, I said. We are done. Sierra blinked hard. Wait, she said. We can fix this. I will actually get pregnant for real this time. Listen to yourself, I said. Get out. But I love you, she said, crying harder now. I want a future with you. You want my wallet, I said. There is a difference. Leave. Sierra tried one more angle. I panicked, she said. My clock is ticking, and you are not taking it seriously. So you committed fraud, I said. It is not fraud, she insisted. I was going to get pregnant eventually anyway. That is not how any of this works, I said. Leave my apartment. Sierra looked around like she expected me to soften. Where am I supposed to go? She asked. Your parents' house, I said. The people who help you try to corner me. They did not know, Sierra said quickly. I told them I was really pregnant. Maybe, I said, but I am done. I opened the door. Get out, or I am calling the police. Sierra left, still crying, still trying to justify herself under her breath like the right explanation could rewind the last month. When the door shut, I leaned my forehead against it for a second and just breathed. 2 years with someone who could fabricate a pregnancy and coordinate a pressure campaign to force a house purchase. The betrayal was not just the lie. It was the teamwork behind it. The way she recruited her parents and her friend to repeat the same script until I caved. I texted Reggie. You were right. She was faking it. He replied, holy hell. You okay? I wrote, just wow. The next few days were chaotic. Valerie called screaming that I had driven her daughter to desperation. Clifton threatened to sue me for emotional damages. Brittany posted vague social media rants about men who punish women for wanting stability. I did not engage. I blocked numbers one by one. I kept screenshots and saved messages. I stayed calm on purpose because getting pulled into a public fight was exactly what they wanted. There was one thing I did do, and I did it clean. I sent a group text to Valerie, Clifton, and Brittany with a screenshot of Sierra's confession in writing and one sentence of my own. For the record, Sierra lied about being pregnant to manipulate me into buying a house. I thought you should know before you keep defending her. After that, there was a long, satisfying silence. Valerie did not respond. Clifton did not call again. Brittany did not show up at my job. By that evening, Brittany's post was gone. A mutual friend texted me later and said people had heard what happened, and the story Sierra was trying to tell was not landing the way she hoped. It was not dramatic revenge. It was just reality finally catching up. 2 weeks later, I heard Sierra had moved back in with her parents and was telling people I abandoned her during a pregnancy scare. A scare. That is what she called it, like it had been a misunderstanding instead of a plan. A mutual friend asked if I wanted to set the record straight publicly. I said no. Anyone who mattered already knew the truth, and anyone who did not was not worth my time. I kept the recording of Sierra saying the timing was off, the line about 3 weeks sounding good at the time, just in case she ever tried anything legal. She never did. Maybe because her parents realized how close they had come to pushing me into something that could have blown back on all of them. As for me, I stayed in my apartment in Charlotte. I kept my promotion. I kept my finances separate. I did not buy a house under threat. I did not sign anything in a rush. I closed the door on a relationship that tried to turn my future into a hostage negotiation, and I walked away with my sanity intact. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.